Good morning, church. Here it is Thursday. I'm late this week. I try to get them out on Tuesday or so, but sometimes it's Wednesday and now Thursday. Been a lot going on. As most of you already know, Gene Nye has passed away. He began his sunrise and morning of his eternal day. And it's a blessing in many ways, but it sure leaves a hole for Marie. 75 years together, and that is such a blessing. And Leon and I were up there and visited with her and Sharon, and we're making funeral arrangements. It'll be on the Friday the 15th of October at 11 o'clock at our building, and we just want to be there to encourage and support the family. Lots of grandkids and that, so it'll be a good celebration of life. One of the things that we need to remember is that Deborah's in the hospital. She's got viral pneumonia. They were misdiagnosing it initially. I think she got them set on track, which she's good at, and they are treating her a little differently now. It took a little bit of stirring from her daughter and son to get the care that she should have been having all along. But it is what it is, and you know Deborah, she's tough, and she's going to make it. But we want to continue to pray for her. Vern had mentioned his aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we don't have a name or anything to give you, but they are doing surgery on Monday, so we want to continue to pray for her, Vern's aunt. I was really not sure where to go with this midweek study. And then I was watching one of Patrick Mead's sermons, and it was Why We Believe. And I've done so many things on why we believe and the validity of the Bible, and the fact that it was written over a period of 1,400 years by over 400 authors or 40 authors, and just on 3 or 4 different continents and 3 or 4 different languages, and I mean all of these things, but it has the same theme from beginning to end. That can't be a coincidence. That's got to be designed just like the creation itself. God knew what he was doing when he picked the people to write to us and to the people at that time the Bible. Well, he was taking a different approach, and one that I'm not really qualified to even speak on, except just to pass on a little bit of the information that I gleaned from Patrick's study. I wish I had known some of this and taken more science when I was a kid. Right now I'm doing good to hold my own. But yeah, he's a very intelligent man, very well read, and I love listening to him because it makes so much sense. So much sense. And that gives me peace. It gives me peace because I know that the things that we're doing and the things we try to do together as a family of God in Scio and the surrounding area, I just know that those are all a good in the right direction. Could we improve? Of course. And going forward, that's what we're going to try to do, and make every day a little bit better than the day before. I hope, God willing, we'll be going back to our school luncheons for the kids in October. So I don't know if it'll be this coming Wednesday or if it'll be the following Wednesday. But we want to get back on track with that and reach out to our young people. So those things are all in the works. There's just a lot going on, and people needing help in different ways. And so we just keep doing what we can, and asking God to bless our efforts as we sow the seeds and water. Spread the seeds and water. That's our task. Well, what approach that on why believe to beginning? He's got 3 or 4 sermons on it. But the first thing he goes to is Leviticus. Now, people, really like Genesis and the other Exodus and Deuteronomy, and that they love that, But then you get to Leviticus, and it's a book that a lot of people like to breeze through, and I'm guilty. I have not paid close attention to the information that God's given us in this book. So I want to bring a little of that up today, and just share that with you, some thoughts that I gleaned from what he had to say. It's verses chapter 11, 12, 13, and 14 all cover the things that God told the people not to do, the rules he gave them to live by every day, hygiene rules and different things that were so important. You may wonder, why are the Jews still a Jewish people when the Phoenicians are gone and all the Philistines are gone and all those other nomadic tribes are gone? But the Jews are still here. And I believe, and I'm convinced, that it's because God gave them the rules to live by and gave them the information that they would need to be healthy and to continue to propagate and to get on the move. These are people that were on the move all the time. And there's a lot of things that, some of these rules, if we'd have known them before science figured it out, if we'd have gone to God's Word and read it, there would have been a lot of lives saved over the centuries. But anyhow, he starts at there in verse 24, chapter 11, and it's what to eat or not eat of foods and the cleansing stuff and that. So I've got my notes here to try and make it coherent, but I just want to go on down through. I'm going to read 24 there. He says, "You will make yourselves unclean by these. Whoever touches their carcasses." Now, the first part of chapter 11, he lists all the critters that you can eat and not eat. He gives you a total list. And I mean, it's a comprehensive list. But he gives you that. And then he starts here with the hygiene aspects of it. And that's what I found very interesting. Very interesting. "You will make yourselves unclean by these. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean until evening." Now we say, okay, so if I touch a carcass at 5 o'clock, I'm okay at 6 o'clock. No. They would be talking about the following day. In other words, 24 hours, giving time for bacteria and stuff to dissipate. They'll be unclean till evening. "Whoever picks one of their carcasses up must wash their clothes, and they will be," if you just touch them, and if you pick it up, it's even worse. If you just touch them, you're unclean till evening, the following day. "If you pick one of their carcasses up, you must wash your clothes, and they will be unclean until evening, the following day." Why is that? You don't know it. I didn't know it. That's why I plead ignorance. But when you pick a carcass up, there's a puff of air that comes in, and the bacteria and parasites and stuff that are there are floating in the air, and they cling to your clothing and that. and you breathe some of them in. Well, really? That's why they must wash their clothes. They've got to wash their clothes because the bacteria and stuff needs oxygen, and so, but they'll be unclean until the evening, the next day. Every animal, excuse me, every animal that does not have a divided hoof or that does not chew the cud is unclean for you. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them will be unclean. What's this about chewing the cud? Well, you know that a cow and other mammals have two stomachs, and cows mainly eat grass. Well, grass doesn't have much in nutrients, but the cow can eat that, chew it, and then it goes down in his stomach, and then it comes back and chews it again. It gets all the nutrients out of that grass that are possible to get out of it before passing on through the digestive system. So, but if you touch any of those that does not chew its cud and have a divided hoof, they're unclean for you. Stay away from them. Wow. This is so technical, and I had no idea. I just plead ignorance on this. Of all the animals that walk on all fours, those who walk on their paws are unclean for you. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean till evening. Why is that? Why is it they walk on their paws, they're unclean? Because their paws are like our feet, and they absorb bacteria and stuff as they're walking. Their paws are like skin, and it's very soft, and it will pick stuff up. So they're unclean, and if you touch your carcass, you're unclean till the following day. Who knew this? I hope some of you out there can say, oh, Mike, that's common knowledge. I knew that a long time ago. I didn't. Anyone who picks up their carcasses must wash their clothes, and they'll be unclean till evening. Again, same thing. When you pick up a carcass, you don't see it, but it's there. God knew this thousands of years before man figured it out. That's what's amazing to me, and why anyone who doubts the Creator and his wisdom, they're just a brick short of a load. They're a sandwich short of a picnic. So these animals will be unclean to you. And then on verse 29, now this is another one. Of the animals that move along the ground, these are unclean for you. The weasel, the rat, any kind of great lizard, the gecko, the monitor lizard, the wall lizard, the skink, the chameleon, all of those that move on the ground, these are unclean for you. Whoever touches them when they are dead will be unclean till evening, the following day. When one of them dies and falls on something, that article, whatever its use, will be unclean, whether it is made of wood, cloth, hides, or sackcloth. Put it in water, and it will be unclean until the next day. Then it will be clean. Now, here's the biggie. Now, if one of them, a utensil, say you're using a spoon, and a rat comes across, I got a rat the other day, hooray for me. But a rat comes across, and it hits that, and it flips up and into the jar, the pot, clay pot. If one of them falls into a clay pot, everything in it will be unclean, and you must break the pot. Everything in it, you're fixing dinner, and a rat runs by and hits the spoon that you're using and it falls into the pot, you have to throw that food away. And then bigger than that, you have to break the pot. They didn't have glazing like we do today. And the pots are very porous. So you didn't have any choice. That's what you had to do. And pots are very important in their culture. We've got to keep this in mind. What we're reading is written to an unscientific, what we would consider backward people. And God's given them information man doesn't come across for centuries. But I'm going to stop there, and I'll pick back up with that next week because I'm so fascinated by this study. I pray you have a great week, a good weekend, and Judy and I will be gone, but I'm going to take my laptop with me and try to carry this on next week. But we're going to go to Las Vegas and be with our son and his wife and pick up the trailer that they're getting. So anyhow, I'm going to say goodbye. God bless. Continue to pray for Deborah and Vern's aunt. We love you, and we'll see you on the flip side.